Hey everyone, welcome back to Williamson Ridge Outdoors. Today we are out here with a new product, or new to the channel. I've been trying out some of the Ego battery chainsaws, and I was so impressed with their battery chainsaws that I decided that, you know what, I better check out the rest of their stuff, their blowers and their string trimmer. And now I've actually got their commercial chainsaw also, so that video will be coming up. And I'll have some comparisons between the residential 20-inch battery saw and the commercial, just to kind of give you an idea if there's a difference in cut power or, torque and cut speed and all that kind of stuff. There are a few different features on them, but that's not what today's about. Today's about this string trimmer. This is the first time of me using any Ego string trimmer, and this is the version with the Line IQ technology. So what this does is actually automatically advances line as you need it, I guess. I have read some reviews saying some people didn't like it. It was really going through line. So I'm going to have to test that out and see if I have the same issue. But what's also cool about it is whenever you go to reload it, then you put your string in there and it has a button you can push and it winds it up with the electric motor, as opposed to having to sit there and turn it by hand. So I'm really interested in also trying that out and reloading this thing and seeing how well that actually works. This thing is supposed to have a 16-inch cut, and I also got this on a special deal. I don't know if they're still running it right now, but I bought the trimmer, battery, and charger, and then got a free battery or extra battery with it. And the factory battery is a 4 amp hour, and it came with a 2.5 amp hour battery. But what we're using today is the 4 amp hour battery, because that's what it came with in the kit. So the whole idea behind this Line IQ technology is that you don't have to bump the head to feed the line. It automatically feeds it without you having to hit the head on the ground. So we're going to see how well that works in this. But for now, let's go ahead and start doing some trimming. I'll give you my first impressions, and then over, the next month or so, then I'll give you an update and let you know how this thing's holding up. See if it's really chewing through the line, or whether it seems to be just like any other trimmer. So follow along with us for updates on all that. But for now, let's get started. So the line is still pretty much at full distance, it looks like. We got a turtle. So we'll make sure I get him moved out of the way. This one's a little bit shy, but we're going to move him. He's moving that direction, so we're going to put him that direction, and that way he gets out of the way of the weed eater and we don't catch him up in anything. So first impressions, this thing is pretty powerful and it's quiet. I believe my Echo 56 volt though might be a little bit more powerful than what this one is. But you can see this is some pretty good sized weeds and stuff we're dealing with. And some of them's kind of stringy and they try to wrap up on you. But it's making short work of it. It's doing good. The line is staying out. I'm not having to do anything with feeding the line or anything. So I can't see pieces of it anywhere. So I don't know if it's feeding out and using a lot of line. But we'll find out if this line runs out really quick. Well, I thought it was out of string there for a minute, but it must have broke off on one side because now it seems to be back even again. So I don't know what happened there. I think it must have broke off and it made it, you know, like I say, it sounded like it was out of line there for a minute, or at least on one side. It kind of felt uneven, but I believe it corrected itself. But now I'm running into some big sticks and stuff here where they've fallen out of this tree, and I'm not moving them first. I'm hitting these and breaking line and just seeing how it does as far as refeeding. And I think that's exactly what happened. I think it just didn't have enough time once I broke the line to refeed it. So by hitting stuff like this, it is automatically though bringing the line back out. So that's actually really cool. I keep wanting to bump it, and I wanted to bump it there whenever it felt that way. And I thought, well, no, it's automatic. Let's just give it a minute. And by giving it a minute, then like I say, it has pretty much evened itself back out. So I just hit another stick. Huh. It might have fed out that quick, but I hit another stick and then it sounded real funny for a second. But now it's back to normal. Whoa. So, what do I think about this Ego 56 volt trimmer? I like it pretty good, but there are a couple downfalls to it. And just in case you're wondering what exactly model this is the ST1620T. So, those downfalls. One, I do not like the safety on the trigger at all, because the way this thing is, like, you have to push it forward and then pull the trigger. Maybe I'll get a little bit more used to it, but it seems like that sometimes, like, I forget which direction that you have to push this little lever to unlock the trigger. And it seems like that I was fighting with it several times because I was thinking it goes one way, but it actually goes the other way. I don't know, maybe that's just a, first use and something that I would get used to, quickly. So after a few more uses, this may not be a problem at all, but right now it was just kind of annoying trying to remember what direction and where I was at in a correspondence with that safety mechanism there. I may just be making it a little bit more difficult than what it actually is just by not being used to it. So the only other thing is, do I wish it had a little bit more power sometimes? Yes. I believe my Echo 56 volt has more power than this. And the way that the Echo works, as you're going into something, like it feels like it might be a little bit weak. But then all of a sudden, like it gets a burst of power, and it just seems like it powers through just about anything. This one does the same thing, but it seems like sometimes that it still is not quite enough. But it's still really good. And the stuff that you see me cutting here is not normal maintenance stuff. It's stuff that you would, you know, like this is overgrown, tall stuff, weedy, stringy weeds. And if you're trimming around your home and sidewalks and all this stuff, you're not going to need any more power than what this thing has. It has tons of power. But in this really tall, weedy stuff, then yeah, it could use just a little bit more. So in the time that I ran this though, this is a 4 amp hour battery. It was fully charged and the battery is pretty much dead. Now this thing might use a little bit more battery because of that line IQ technology, because it's constantly feeding that line just a little bit. So it might be using some of the battery there, and that might be why that, you know, it could be seeming like it run out of battery pretty quick. If I'm not mistaken, I'd used it. I was trimming there for about 22 minutes, I believe is what my camera said on it. So, I don't know. I mean, we still got quite a bit done, but I was surprised that it is just about dead. But overall, I have to say that I really like this, and I like the value that you get out of it, because the battery, the charger, the trimmer was $2.99, and I also got another 2.5 amp hour battery for free with it. So it kind of made that deal a little bit better. I've always been used to having to feed the line and wind it by hand and bump the head in order to advance the line. So I don't know for sure how well I'm going to like this over time, but that's what I've got this for, is for that purpose, and trying this thing out for long term. So I'm going to use it in multiple places, like over at my mom's with chain link fences, and see if that makes a difference in the feeding with the line IQ technology, and see if it really chews through the line and just keeps spitting line out and then runs out really fast. Or like I say, whether it just is somewhat comparable to the manual bump feeds and stuff. So some of the things I do like about it though, you know, like it does feel good. The handle's comfortable. It also is adjustable. So you can move you can change the length of this trimmer by telescoping it back and forth. So for different height people, or even where you want your handle at. So you can mount your handle and then slide your pole in and out, and that'll give you adjustment on, you know, where you're at as far as your trimming goes. But then also, you can also take your handle loose and adjust it and slide it to different locations. And also, you know, like whatever angle you want from left to right. So with all that, you know, it actually has a lot of adjustability. So, like I say, I really like this trimmer overall. It's to be determined whether I'm going to like the auto feed and the line IQ and all that. I think it's going to be really cool to be able to wind the line up just by pushing the button on the head and it backing it up and pulling it in. You also can't wind your line the wrong direction with this because it does it itself. So with all that being said, make sure to stay tuned to the channel for more videos on this Ego 56 volt battery string trimmer. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you outdoors.